I think Jung Ho is going to be, or should be, the best leadoff hitter they have. He's not great at drawing a walk, but he is good because he's got speed. And as a lefty, you have that extra step to first base. You're a little bit closer. For him to prevail through 6 months of this grind of a Major League Baseball season, he has to stay strong enough through it all. And I think some of the wear and tear got to him, and now he's kind of bouncing out of that because, as he told me, the mindset.
You talked to Pat Burrell, the hitting coach. Controversial hitting coach. I know Giants fans are not real happy with him. You never, when the team doesn't hit, the batting coach is always going to get under scrutiny. What's just his mentality? I'm sure he understands that there's been issues and there's some fans who aren't real thrilled. Just kind of what's his mood about the way the Giants have hit this year?
He's probably the most upbeat coach going on this staff, and maybe one of the most upbeat guys who roam the clubhouse. I mean, after the loss, and it was another one-run game for the offense, and the Padres took it to him and threw fastball after fastball right by him. Jung Ho Lee, we were at his locker speaking, and he was talking through his interpreter about his home run that began the game, and that was their only run of the night. And Burrell just popped his head through, a little doorway nearby and said, "Atta babe, Johnny, way to go, baby." And I looked over and I said, "Man, he's got a smile on his face. They just lost." And I think hitters don't mind that, because after 0 for 4, 2-3 strikeouts, maybe they don't want to see anybody in their face. But if they do, it wouldn't hurt to have somebody who's got their back, who's supportive, who's got a lot of passion as a player, as a scout, and now as a coach, to kind of explain, hey, there's always tomorrow, there's ebbs and flows. And Burrell was one of the biggest streaky hitters there were in his day. And you look at a lot of these guys like Willie Adames, Mr. Streaky, he had a great July. Now he's back to his early days. He just can't buy a hit in August, and now he's out. He's hoping to play. He's got a little side issue because the Brewers are next on the schedule this weekend in Milwaukee, his old team. Yeah, but Burrell kind of walked me through. I'd mentioned, player A, B, and C. And when I got to Rafael Devers, he wouldn't shut up. He just loves this guy. I mean, yeah, he swing and miss is a problem. But he spoke about, and he had to go through it when he went from Philly to Tampa, how tough it is to go from not only team to team, but league to league. And you're facing guys you're not as familiar with. And he just loves this guy. And he said, yeah, hey, don't worry about what you see on a daily basis, because this guy will hit. And I imagine after an off season to kind of breathe and exhale and realize what he did, Devers is probably going to, hopefully, for the Giants' sake, be back to what he was to some degree in Boston. He won't have that big wall to hit doubles off, but he's the kind of hitter that the Giants need. And Jung Ho is kind of that guy now, using all fields, bat to ball. He strikes out way too much, Rafi, for now, but Jung Ho, one of the best, one of the lowest strikeout rates in the league and one of the best contact hitters in the league. He's finally having, his best month, hitting over 330, OPS in the high 900. So, yeah, I just kind of went around the horn with him, and there are pluses that he brings up, despite all the issues with this team. So it was kind of cool to reflect on where these guys are, where they're going through the eyes of the hitting coach, who, you're right, there is some controversy there. Oh, fire the manager, fire the hitting coach. But that's the ebbs and flows of a season. The Giants won 2 in a row, and you didn't hear anything about, fire the manager, fire the hitting coach. And then, now it's back to, the same old venom because they lost the second game in San Diego. So it's not like football where there's a game every week. It's every day. So the fan reaction always is what can you do for me now? Not, over a week or a month or a season.
Is there a systemic problem with them not being able to hit fastballs? In the major leagues now, everybody's throwing 90. Nick Pivetta yesterday throwing 95. That's just the way it is. It's an average fastball now. And the Giants really have had trouble all season just getting their bats on this stuff. And it's not just swing and miss. It's the ones right down the middle that they can't elevate and get out. Does Burrell talk to this systemic problem? Is it just the talent level's not there? What do you think the issue? Because if you can't hit fastballs in the major leagues, you're not going to be a good offensive team. I mean,
how many great athletes told you, yeah, I was a good ball player, but I couldn't hit the curve?
Yep.
It's like everyone should be able to hit a fastball, right? Technically, little league, in high school, in college, in the minors, yeah, he's a good fastball hitter, but he was never able to catch up with the slider or the curve or any of these other changeups, whatever. But these are major leaguers swinging and missing and whiffing on fastballs. Granted, 95, 96, all the way up to 100 plus. But it's like, here's where I think you're going to see the changing of the guard with this team, because I think under the previous administration, it was exit velo, it was launch angle, it was hit the ball as hard as you can. And if you look at Buster Posey's recent draft, if you look at the guys he acquired, the prospects he acquired in the trades, they're all bat to ball guys. Mm-hmm. They're all contact guys. They're not big power hitting guys. They're not, the guys who are just going to crush it. And if you swing and miss 3 times, you have no 2-strike approach, whatever. But you're seeing, I think, maybe you can't see it now, but you're going to see a changing of the guard. I mean, you look at the 12 strikeouts that Pivetta and 3 relievers collected against this lineup in game 2 of this series. 7 of them were Casey Schmidt, Tyler Fitzgerald, and Christian Koss. I mean, those 3 guys were on the infield in this game. And a lot of these, all of them were in AAA for a significant portion. And they're all young, and they're all aggressive hitters, and they all have big swings, and they often swing at the first pitch. So it's not the kind of player that the Giants ultimately would like to develop, especially for that ballpark. But the induced vertical break is something that Bob Melvin has been speaking about after Pivetta, whose vertical break, in other words, his backspin is so incredible that the ball stays up vertically longer than the normal fastball, based on gravity that will pull it down. If you just play catch, obviously the ball will have a downward motion as the ball gets closer to the guy you're playing catch with. And for a pitcher, it's the same thing. Now, Justin Verlander is top 10 in baseball in induced vertical break. In other words, his spin rate, his backspin is so extreme that the ball doesn't drop as quickly as the normal fastball. And that's what Melvin is talking about when he talks about this vertical break. And for Pivetta, it was as high as 24 inches last night, and like a average fastball in the majors might be 16, 17, 18, somewhere in there. So this is several inches more vertical than the normal fastball when it arrives at the plate. So in other words, they're high fastball, it's high cheese, and you're thinking it's going to be more in the zone, and it's up here at shoulder level, and they're just swinging through it. So that's kind of the scientific way of explaining why they're swinging and missing at a lot of pitches, and the Padres have a lot of those guys. The Giants don't have a lot of those guys beyond Verlander, maybe Randy Rodriguez, but otherwise it's not just 95, but it's 95 with vert, as the insiders call it. So,
well, it's also called being not good at hitting fastballs. I think that's a little, I get the technical stuff. I get why Melvin's raising it, but all great fastball pitchers have balls that stay up in the zone, and either you're good at it or you're not good at it. I've been critical of Jung Ho Lee all season. I don't think he's had a good season, but the stats are coming up. There's no question about it. And I really don't think he can hit the fastball. I think he has to speed up his swing in order to hit the fastball, but if you time it right, you can get it. What's he done better lately? I mean, I think his OPS in the last few weeks has been over 900, as you mentioned. Man, if he can get that anywhere in the high 700s and 800s over a season, he's going to be valuable. What's he been doing differently?
Well, I think I asked him this question. I said, is it mental? Is it physical? In other words, are you working on something mechanically? And he said, no, not at all. It's all mindset. And it's while the inside pitch he'll pull with power, it's more about using the whole field. And it's like, well, that's supposed to be the whole point all season. And there were so many rollovers, 4-3, 3 unassisted, legal ground balls to the right side, comebackers to the mound. But lately, and you can see it through the eye test, he is hitting the 5-6 hole with a ground ball, or hitting the gap in left center, and waiting for the pitch to travel before, trying to pull it hard or whatever he was doing. I mean, he was magic in April and into May, but since then, all the way through July, he was very bad, and he lost his spot as a leadoff hitter. But now he's back as leadoff hitter, at least against right-handers, and I think that's the perfect spot for him. Whenever they face a right-hander, I think Jung Ho is going to be, or should be, the best leadoff hitter they have. He's not great at drawing a walk, but he is good because he's got speed. And as a lefty, you have that extra step to first base. You're a little bit closer. But basically, and Burrell said the same, he is using the whole field. And, in his defense, he showed up last year after missing much of the previous year in South Korea because of an injury. Then last May, he gets injured again, misses the rest of the season. So this is really, for the first time in 3 years, he's hoping to play a full season. And Burrell told me this season is about his introduction to physicality of being a major leaguer, meaning they don't play 162 in Korea. They play 162 here. And he's been in the lineup an awful lot. So he kind of confessed to me that fatigue could be a thing with him, because, he doesn't have this big body type where he's just going to, muscle through it. We know what he looks like. We know his body type. But, for him to prevail through 6 months of this grind of a Major League Baseball season, he has to stay strong enough through it all. And I think some of the wear and tear got to him, and now he's kind of bouncing out of that because, as he told me, the mindset.
That would be a huge thing if they're paying him so much. He has to be an everyday player, and he has to be a good one. And he hasn't been, but maybe he will be. And we shall see how that works.